I think Daniel Dubois, he's on a roll. He's coming off of a massive win against AJ.
The thing with Usyk is he doesn't depend on his power to knock you out. He depends on his skill. That's why it's a tough ask, because he's going to box.
Eubank Jr. just lit a fire under the heavyweight division with a statement that borders on fantasy. "I'd put my $100 million on Dubois," he declared. But let's be honest, that kind of bold claim doesn't change the facts. Oleksandr Usyk didn't show any mental weakness in the first fight. He absorbed a questionable body shot, regrouped, and came back with vengeance. Daniel Dubois, on the other hand, crumbled when the moment demanded greatness. Eubank Jr. is backing his fellow Brit, but in terms of...
I think that fight's going to come down to mindset, you know. In the last fight, they both showed mental weakness. You know, Usyk took a 3-minute break.
Of mindset and composure, Usyk is on another planet. Eubank doesn't stop there. He dives deep into the mental battle, hinting both fighters have been tested, but conveniently ignoring how Usyk responded to adversity. Usyk didn't crack. He recalibrated. Dubois, meanwhile, fell apart when the heat rose. If we're calling this a mental war...
People say it was low, some people say it wasn't, but he still took that break. And then Dubois kind of crumbled under the pressure after that. So I think it's going to come down to who's mentally more prepared to tough this.
The Ukrainians already marched through fire and emerged untouched. Dubois still has everything to prove. Chisora breaks it down with no fluff. Beating Usyk isn't just about getting better, it's about achieving the impossible. Eubank Jr. might believe Dubois has grown, but Usyk isn't some ordinary opponent. He's tamed larger men with footwork and fury. For Dubois, it's not about improvement, it's about transformation into something we've never seen from him before.
Daniel's a different fighter, but let's not make no mistakes about this. He's fighting one of the best fighters. So he has to do something amazing to win this fight. You know, you understand? So he has to go in there and do something which has never been done before.
A massive gamble. Tony Bellew follows Chisora with more brutal truth. He sounds the alarm on Dubois' training camp. According to Bellew, the vibe isn't right, and that's a problem. You can't beat a master technician like Usyk with a disjointed team and unclear preparation. While Eubank throws hypothetical millions behind Daniel's power, Bellew sees red flags that could unravel everything. Adam Smith tries to offer a balanced perspective.
When he gets in the ring with Daniel Dubois, he doesn't have to be this. So everyone hoping and praying that he's going to get old overnight. The fight is the first to know, because things just aren't going right in camp. And he would happily pull the plug without a shadow of a doubt. And I've heard that
he acknowledges Dubois' raw power and potential, but every note of optimism comes with a loud warning. If Daniel pulls off the upset, it'll be historic, but it'll also take something close to perfection, and that's where the problem lies. Usyk has seen every weapon the heavyweight division can offer, and he's still unbeaten. Dubois needs the perfect storm.
He's so good in rematches. I've not seen any decline in Oleksandr. I thought he got better and better in the Fury second fight, so I expect Usyk to find a way, but Dubois can hurt him. Maybe he can hurt him to the body. And look, if he believes like he did against Joshua and he's tunnel vision and he believes he won't be denied on July the 19th.
Form, not just a good night. Andy Goldstein, known for his bold takes, starts with belief in Dubois' early round danger. But as soon as Usyk's name enters the discussion, the energy shifts. Goldstein, like many others, acknowledges the impossible task. Usyk doesn't just survive punches, he drowns opponents in movement, skill, and composure. He walked through Joshua's fire, diffused Chisora's pressure, dismantled Gassiv, and outclassed Bredis. Dubois' best shot is to land something big early, but how do you do that when your opponent won't stand still? That's the dilemma. Fighters like Goldstein hype the puncher's chance, only to walk it back when reminded of Usyk's resume. The idea of chaos defeating calculation falls apart when calculation always wins. Even Eddie Hearn, boxing's ultimate promoter, plays this one carefully. He's supposed to hype the underdog, but even he can't ignore the red flags. Dubois has been inactive since the collapsed fight with Joseph Parker. That's not just bad.
Going to win it. I just don't know with this one. If Daniel Dubois gets in early, I think he could take him out. But then all of a sudden you start talking about Oleksandr Usyk. Some people talk about how great he's compared to some of the best we've ever seen at heavyweight. And all of a sudden, you know, that thought process.
Bad timing. That's dangerous when your next opponent is Oleksandr Usyk. Hearn says Dubois could win, not should. That word choice is telling. It's hope wrapped in realism. Meanwhile, Usyk has stayed sharp, disciplined, and busy. He doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He imposes them. Hearn is really saying, if everything aligns for Dubois and Usyk has a rare off night, maybe. But Usyk doesn't leave anything to chance. He adapts mid-fight, and that's what makes him terrifying. Then there's Johnny Nelson, reading the tea leaves. He thinks Usyk might be losing motivation, but that interpretation feels like a stretch. This is a man who went from undisputed cruiserweight to elite heavyweight without skipping a beat. Calm doesn't mean careless. Usyk's focus has never wavered. He doesn't need noise to prepare. He thrives in silence. When has Usyk ever looked like he was fading? He dominated Joshua twice, controlled Dubois in their first encounter, and hasn't taken a backward step. If there's anyone at risk of fading, it's the fight.
I'll give Dubois a shot in that fight. It's a good time. I mean, a little bit of inactivity because of the fight falling through against Joseph Parker, but, you know, it's exciting. And I think definitely...
Fighter who mentally collapsed the last time they met, not the one who thrived. Carl Froch adds his voice, and like always, it cuts both ways. He praises Dubois' growth and hints that Usyk should consider stepping away while on top. But let's be clear, Usyk hasn't shown any signs of decline. Suggesting retirement feels more like wishful thinking than strategic advice. Froch acknowledges that Dubois has matured, but what's really changed since their last fight? A decent showing against Jarrell Miller? Meanwhile, Usyk continues to dissect elite competition. Froch is pushing the walk away before it's too late narrative, but Usyk doesn't need to walk away. He's still controlling the narrative. Frank Warren continues the transformation tale, painting Dubois as a grown man now, not the confused youngster from the first fight. But has that transformation been tested against elite opposition? Dubois landed a controversial low blow on Usyk. That was his moment. Usyk
foot out already. He's Usyk talking like that. He's got 1 foot out already. If he's talking like that, that means, as far as I'm concerned, I sense his appetite is slipping away. He's very professional, gets the job done, knows what he has to do in the ring and in training. But to me, he's now 1 foot out.
Recovered and took control. That says more about the Ukrainians' resolve than Dubois' evolution. Warren banks on maturity, but you don't prove that against fading names. You prove that in the trenches against the very best. Usyk has already walked through Dubois' fire and come out unscathed. Unless Dubois has reinvented himself entirely, he risks facing the same outcome. Simon Jordan offers one of the most balanced takes in the discussion. He acknowledges Dubois' growth, but never forgets who Usyk is. Jordan emphasizes the word class, because that's what separates Usyk from the rest. He isn't just winning fights, he's doing it with artistry. He's the kind of fighter who sets the pace, controls the space, and pulls opponents into his rhythm. Jordan sees the truth. Dubois might bring war, but Usyk brings control.
It's a different machine.
Self-confidence will be...
And time waits for no man, as the saying goes. I just think that this is a fight that's exciting. It's a good fight. You've got to make Usyk the favourite, but it's a fight that Daniel Dubois can definitely win.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And control beats chaos almost every time. You don't just fight Usyk, you enter his chessboard. Duke McKenzie brings a sobering clarity to the hype. He says what few are willing to admit. If this fight were against anyone else, Dubois might be the favorite. That says everything. Dubois has improved. His patience, his punch selection, his composure. But against Usyk, improvement isn't enough. Usyk isn't just any heavyweight. He's a problem few have solved. Dubois can't just be braver. He has to be smarter, faster, and tougher, all at once. And McKenzie knows that asking for that level of leap in one fight is close to impossible. Dubois could beat many in the division, but Usyk isn't just another name. He's a master of his craft. George Fox keeps it real with his technical outlook. Yes, Dubois has thunder in both hands, but he also faces a fighter who's made a career out of defusing bombs. Fox says Dubois needs to pick his moments, but what happens when those moments never come? Usyk doesn't allow...
I'm going to go with what his manager said, what Usyk's manager said, Aegis. Aegis came out, he said, this time we're not fighting Daniel the boy, we're fighting Daniel the man. And I think that's the difference. You know, since that Usyk fight, which he was an underdog going into, and he showed that his punch power and hurt.
Rhythm. He dismantles belief with movement and unpredictability. Every feint, every pivot is a distraction designed to disarm. Power only matters if it lands. And against Usyk, landing clean is a task few have accomplished. Fox is right about fundamentals, but those basics have to be executed at a world-class level for 12 rounds. Usyk thrives on exposing anything less. Dubois must be perfect to have a chance. Usyk only needs to be himself. All this builds to the most talked about heavyweight rematch of the year. Usyk versus Dubois 2 isn't trending because it's a 50-50th matchup. It's trending because people want to see if Daniel Dubois is truly reborn or temporarily rebranded. Chris Eubank Jr. is throwing hypothetical millions on Dubois. Frank Warren insists we're about to meet Daniel the Man, and the promotional machine is screaming redemption. But Usyk doesn't care about storylines. He's here to defend his legacy, not honor someone else's. Usyk
is a class act, a mature individual because he's older and wiser, comes from a completely different background. But Daniel Dubois is growing into himself. This will be one hell of a fight. This will be a proper fight, like all of the Usyk.
Already absorbed Dubois' best shot, low blow or not, and came back stronger. Since then, Dubois has faced softer challenges, while Usyk has continued sharpening against the elite. Power is Dubois' biggest weapon, but it's a blunt instrument against a man who operates with surgical precision. This fight isn't just about belts, it's about reaffirming greatness. Usyk has already proven he belongs among the all-time greats. If Dubois is going to change that, he needs to show more than power. He needs patience, poise, and perfection. Punchers always have a chance, but Usyk spent his career proving that the smarter fighter usually walks away with the win. Dubois might land one bomb, but Usyk will land clusters. He'll set traps, create angles, and break confidence one round at a time. This rematch will answer the biggest question in heavyweight boxing today. Can raw power finally break the puzzle, or will Oleksandr Usyk write another chapter in his master?
If he was fighting anybody else other than Oleksandr Usyk, I would pick him to win, but what there can be...
You think he is number 2 heavyweight in the world right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Class of dominance. Drop your predictions in the comments. Are you riding with Daniel Dubois to shock the world, or are you backing Oleksandr Usyk to remind everyone why he's still the most complete heavyweight on the planet?